I have some breaking news about the EIDL grant timeline from an SBA insider. Now, first, let's take a look at the SBA website just to make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's here. So we're looking at the SBA homepage. Today is the 19th, and we, of course, see no change in the top banner here. This used to say, apply for the EIDL grant. No changes here on the homepage. If we search for grant, there's just the scam alert. If we search for advance, there's no change there. And then we have the small business funding page here, which shows us the coronavirus relief options for small businesses. Again, it just still says SBA is preparing to offer both the shuttered venue operator grants and the targeted EIDL advance with limited eligibility. And then if we look at the application itself, that hasn't changed either. It just has that error message that redirects us back to the business funding page and really gives us no additional information. Oh, and what's this? Look at this. Oh, 4 free stocks with Webull with the link in my description. How is that for a smooth transition? Anyways, it's a pretty good deal, so feel free to check that out. So this morning, like I said, I was running a live stream with Bill Briggs, who is the most senior person in charge of the Paycheck Protection Program and the EIDL grant at the SBA. It doesn't get any top of the top as far as these programs go at the SBA. And we received a lot of insights here, both on the Paycheck Protection Program and a couple insights with the EIDL grant program. We were supposed to focus just on the PPP program for contractors and small businesses. There's a separate live stream for each of those if you're interested. But there was tons of EIDL grant questions, so we were able to get some information there, and we can, formulate what might happen based on that information. Basically, what we're told is the EIDL grant is going to be delayed. And I'll get into when we can expect this just in a minute. Here's the probable reasons as to why it will be delayed. The first one is the SBA administration is completely changing over this week for the Biden administration. So all the top people, or nearly all the top people at the SBA, are being replaced with Biden administration top people at the SBA. So what happens in this case? Well, we have these huge landmark loan and small business relief programs. We got the EIDL grant, the shuttered venue, the PPP, the 7A debt relief programs, all of these programs that need to be updated and administered by people who are basically going to be out of a job in like a day. It's insane how this works, but this is no doubt causing some problems because not only do they have to have all of these systems in place before their transition, they also need to show the new people what to do. It's absolutely chaotic what's going on right now with that. So that's definitely one probable reason why it's being delayed. Also, the Paycheck Protection Program has been a beast to roll out at nearly $300 billion in funding. And they managed to get that rolled out today on time this morning. So you can apply for the PPP round 1 and 2 this morning. And if you need a lender, I'll have one linked in the description that I've been working closely with. The application process is not nearly as hard as it was the first time, so don't be scared. Another thing, the probable reason why we're seeing this delayed is the calculation changes due to the EIDL grant has massively increased the workload here with the income requirements and the low income area requirements. I mean, that's a whole nother factor that's thrown in here. Both do they need to have a system that allows people to input their address and tell them whether it applies. They need that as well as the people who have already applied and received a, let's say, $1,000 grant and they want to bump that up to $10,000. They need a system that will allow them to tell, hey, should we bump this person up to $10,000 or not? And then they also need a system that will notify people as to what the result is of their grant application, because under the latest stimulus bill, they need to say whether you're approved or denied within 21 days, I believe, and tell you exactly why. So their system needs to do that. Just overall technology issues. It seems like they're taking a page from the IRS's book here and delaying it now so they don't have issues later. The IRS delayed taxes till February 12th. That way they can get all their systems in place and there's less issues in the back end. And it seems the SBA is doing the same. And as much of a bummer it is that this is being delayed, I think that's probably the right choice to work out all the kinks and get the systems in place now, so there isn't even more issues in the long run. I mean, if we think back about the first round of EIDL grants, they were supposed to be able to get this funding out in 3 days. And of course, that's not a reasonable amount of time. And then months and months later, there was people finally getting these grants, and everyone was mad at the SBA because they couldn't do this on time. So I think it's better just to focus that work now and then have fewer issues and a much better working system in the long run. So this EIDL grant program is going to be delayed until at least mid-February. So we're looking at least a month before this EIDL grant portal opens up completely. And I know this comes as a massive disappointment for anyone who is banking on this to help out their small business, because it's the easier of the two between PPP and EIDL to receive. It's the easier one to get. And I know a lot of people were banking on this, but I can assure you one thing, it's not for lack of effort. I mean, now that I've been in contact with these SBA high-up officials, they are working around the clock on weekends, 100-hour weeks to do what they've done so far. So I can tell they're at least trying, but I understand that it is completely frustrating to have to wait and then, expect this to be open one day and it gets delayed. And there should have been some kind of notification before the 17th that, hey, this is going to be pushed out, but that's passed. But we do have good news for the Paycheck Protection Round 2, though, and odds are if you can apply for the EIDL grant, you can also apply for the PPP Round 2, and that is a awesome program for small business owners, for anyone who's an independent contractor, anyone who is a gig economy worker, Uber, Lyft, Instacart, anyone who offers some kind of service and gets a 1099, you should apply. And that was the overall sentiment of the live stream that we did this morning, where basically Bill was saying that if you think you might be able to apply, apply. Everyone should absolutely apply. It costs nothing to apply, and you may get effectively thousands of dollars in stimulus benefit by just applying. It's going to take an hour or two of work, and that's it. So you absolutely should apply, even if you're on the fence of, I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. Try was the overall sentiment. And we also learned there was kind of a hack, if you will, about the Paycheck Protection Program 1 and 2 that allows you to get a ton of funding here. Let me explain. Let me pull up a calculator so I can explain how this works. So the total amount of effective stimulus you can get is $41,666 for independent contractors and sole proprietors. And we learned that you can get a first round PPP followed by a second round back to back and get all of that effective stimulus and both of those loans forgiven. So let me do the math on how exactly this works. You can see, here's the calculator. So you can use up to $100,000 per year in earnings or gross commissions, wages, everything, net profit to calculate these loans. And you get to do that twice. So the first loan, you get $100,000. This is up to income of $100,000. I'll do another calculation for a lower income in a second. Then we divide that by 12 to see the monthly amount, $8,333. Then we multiply this by 2.5, the multiple amount, and we get $20,833 in stimulus for the first round of PPP funding. So you can receive that amount, have it forgiven, and use the 8-week covered period. And then you can do that again and get a second forgivable loan as long as your gross receipts have gone down by 25% or more. If they haven't gone down by that much, you can still get the first round and get that up to $20,000. But if you can do the second round, we can double this to $41,666. Now let's do a little bit lower income amount. Just for an example, let's say you had $40,000 in net income with your independent contractor job, sole proprietor, somehow you're self-employed. So we're going to divide that by 12, $3,333, multiply this by 2.5. So that's $8,333 per round, first and second round. So we can divide or multiply that by 2, $16,666. You can think of that as a $16,000 stimulus check just for doing like an hour or two of work. I mean, it's pretty amazing if you ask me. So if you can just gather your documents and make it through this application, thousands of dollars can be in your pocket and 100% forgivable to you because it's considered your payroll. Another question that we received in the live stream that I wanted to address, many people have asked this: what if you receive pandemic unemployment insurance or unemployment boosts and you want to receive the PPP? Can you get both at the same time? And the answer here is no, you can't get them at the same time, but you can get the PPP. So here's how you need to do it. If you're on PUA, you need to apply for the PPP program. And then if you receive funding through that, you will pause PUA, while you receive the covered period for the Paycheck Protection Program. You can get them both, you just can't have them at the exact same time. Otherwise, that would be double dipping on the program. Another question we received was, what if you own several businesses or several side hustles? Like, let's say you work as an Uber driver, Instacart driver, and a Postmates driver, and you earn income from all of those. How do you apply? What you're going to do here is just one application that combines all of these earnings. And the same goes if you own a landscaping service, a pool cleaning business, and a dog walking service just as a sole proprietor under yourself. You're going to combine all those earnings as if they're one company, which is you. You can think of it, there's a good analogy. You can think of it as a company that offers multiple different products or services under one entity, and that's basically you. Another question we received is, what if you're employed and you do a gig on the side? Can you get the PPP? And yes, you absolutely can. So you're a W-2 worker for some company and you drive Uber on the side, you can get a PPP for that Uber driving gig. Another question that was asked a ton was, is the Paycheck Protection Program credit-based? And the answer here is absolutely no. And that's awesome. Bill really highlighted this, that was one of the biggest reasons for this program is they wanted a funding program that isn't credit-based and offers funding to businesses and people who wouldn't typically be able to get this funding, at least get access to the funding as easy as it is through the Paycheck Protection Program. Another question, as a contractor, can you calculate your earnings based on bank statements? Now, this one is kind of confusing for contractors because a lot of the documentation is worded like payroll, small business, and it seems weird, like I don't know if I'm a small business, I'm just a contractor. Well, in this case, you are 100% a small business, and you don't necessarily need a quarterly profit and loss statement in order to prove your income or prove loss in revenue if you're applying for the second round. What you can do, the easiest way is to gather all your bank statements and then break up your earnings just quarterly on a spreadsheet or however you want to break them up. So you take January, February, March, that's quarter one. April, May, June, that's quarter two. Look at your earnings, and then you'll just compare that 2019 to 2020. I know it's a lot of documents because you'll need 24 bank statements, but it's better than having to put together P&Ls and things like that. So all in, the general sentiment, again, is you should absolutely apply for the PPP, either round 1 or 2. If you haven't already, if you're on the fence, you should absolutely apply. And then hopefully next month comes around and we'll see this EIDL grant open and we can get some benefit from that as well. So if you need a high quality lender, I'll have one linked in the description that I've been working closely with. It's Womply. Otherwise, you can use any other SBA approved lender. I just can't attest to their quality or their hustle or customer service or things like that. So I just like to thank you for watching, and I hope you have a profitable day.